question. The leader from Essex.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Premier. And Premier, I'm certain you'll want to acknowledge in our thoughts and our best wishes to the family of Jim Belanger and his wife, who were involved in an accident last night returning from Ottawa to Sudbury, involving their horse trailer. They had to euthanize a horse, and I just want to send our thoughts and best wishes to the family of Jim Belanger. Premier, horse people and track workers in Fort Erie and Sudbury and across Ontario don't think they're getting a fair shake from this Premier, and I don't blame them. She insisted that the slots at racetrack program had to go because it allowed insiders at marquee tracks like Woodbine to pay themselves high-sky salaries instead of putting money back into horses. But in its place, they brought in a plan that cuts out not-for-profit tracks and rewards the same for-profit insiders that abused SARP in the first place. Why won't the Ontario government play fair with rural Ontario?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and my thoughts are with the family, and my heart goes out to them. But what the member opposite has said is the farthest thing from the truth, Mr. Speaker. Following on the footsteps of my predecessor, who put in place the panel of Elmer Buchanan and John Snoblin and John Wilkinson to give us some advice on how we could make the horse racing industry in the province sustainable, Mr. Speaker. We have got a plan in place. The NDP has stated, the leader of the NDP has stated that she'd like to reinstate the slots at racetrack program, Mr. Speaker. Yeah. And that was an unaccountable program, Mr. Speaker, and it was all the members of the panel said that that was not a program that could be sustainable. It was not going to make the horse racing industry sustainable, and Mr. Speaker, it was not accountable to the people of Ontario. So we will not be reinstating that program, Mr. Speaker. Instead, we will be investing $400 million in a 5-year plan to keep the horse racing industry. All of the tracks have an opportunity to be sustainable.
Thank you. Supplementary. Speaker, the Premier talks about accountability, but this government is about as transparent as a brick wall. Horse people in places like Fort Erie, Sudbury, and all across the province are having a hard time making an impression on this government. Even as this government is putting not-for-profit tracks out of business, they're going all in on Woodbine, which, since the end of SARP, has conveniently gone for profit. Is this government's idea of making horse racing sustainable for rural Ontario?
Well, Mr. Speaker, our idea is that we want to make sure that all of the tracks in the province have a way to...
It's kind of interesting. I'm going to tell some members of the NDP and some members of the Tories to take it outside. Premier.
Our proposal is that all of the tracks in the province have an opportunity to take part in a sustainable horse racing industry into the future, Mr. Speaker. And in order to do that, we have put the onus on the OLG to make sure that there is an integration of horse racing with the overall gaming strategy. And Mr. Speaker, the folks that I have spoken to, and many of whom I've spoken to in the horse racing industry, are pleased with that. That integration was missing. They wanted to feel that they were part of that overall strategy. That is what will make them sustainable, Mr. Speaker. And that is our objective.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. The fact is that this government is betting the farm on the Woodbine racetrack, and horse people in Fort Erie and Sudbury are losing their shirts. This deal isn't about making horse racing sustainable. It's about handing more market share to a for-profit giant. Why is this government picking a big winner and putting smaller tracks out to pasture?